Alright, in the previous video we saw three steps formation of sodium chloride. Now let's have a look at another example. Formation of calcium oxide. How is calcium oxide formed? What type of bonding? Obviously it is ionic bonding. How is the ionic bonding formed in calcium oxide? Alright, just a reminder, only valence electrons are involved in this compound formation. Alright, only valence electrons are involved in any type of bonding, also in ionic bonding. So we can only show valence electrons in the bond formation if for the larger atoms, because it is obviously hectic to draw all the shells and to draw all the electrons for the larger atoms. So that is why we only show valence electrons for the bigger atoms. For example, calcium. Alright, it is one heck of a job if we want to draw all the electrons and all the electronic shells of calcium. It is a big atom. Alright, so only valence electrons will suffice. So look at the step 1 and step 2. We've discussed this, that both these steps take place simultaneously. Alright, they're happening at the same time. So what happens is, calcium atom, because it is in group 2, it loses 2 electrons and forms calcium 2 positive ion. Alright, now this is the valence electron of calcium. Now when it will lose these 2 electrons, the inner atom will obviously have 8 electrons. Only then the next shell will have 2 electrons. Alright, now the valence electron has 2 electrons, but the shell that is formed, or the shell that is the inner shell, the shell over here, it has 8 electrons. Now this becomes the valence shell. Alright, now this already has 8 electrons after losing 2 electrons. And on the other hand, oxygen has 6 valence electrons, and oxygen needs 2 more electrons to become to complete its octet and to become oxide ion. Alright, and these 2 electrons, they are coming from calcium atom. Alright, calcium atom loses 2 electrons, oxygen atom gains 2 electrons, calcium atom becomes calcium ion, oxygen atom becomes oxide ion. Alright, both these structures now have complete octet. Alright, calcium atom, 2 valence electrons. When it loses 2 valence electron, it now has 8 valence electrons. How? For example, if I draw last 2 shells of calcium, alright, these are the last 2 shells of calcium. Alright, when calcium atom loses these 2 electrons, the inner shell now has a complete 8 electrons. Inner shell is complete. Alright, so that is how calcium atom has 8 valence electrons. Now what happens is, in step 3, this calcium ion and this oxide ion, these two are attracted together by these opposite charges. Alright, and these opposite charges, they produce SITE. These are spellings of opposite, right? Alright, I don't know. Opposite charges have an electrostatic forces of attraction. Alright, this force is responsible for ionic bonding. Alright, this force is responsible for keeping these two ions strongly holding them together. Alright, so this is the ionic bond. Now this is the overall equation for this bond formation. Calcium ion plus oxide ion, it makes calcium oxide. Alright, positive calcium ion, negative oxide ion forms a neutral calcium oxide. The compound formed, it has to be neutral. Alright, compound formed is always neutral. There cannot be any charge on the compound that is formed. Let's have a look at another example. Formation of magnesium chloride. Step 1 and step 2. Both these steps take place simultaneously. Alright, magnesium atom has 1, 2, and 3 shells. It has these 2 electrons in its valence shell. Alright, and these chlorine atoms have 7 electrons and in the valence shell. Now, magnesium has an electronic configuration of 282, which means that magnesium can donate, or magnesium wants to donate, or magnesium has to donate 2 electrons, whereas chlorine has an electronic configuration of 2, 8, and 7. Alright, so chlorine needs to have one more electron in its valence shell to complete its octet. Alright, so 2 electrons, one, this one, and this one, these will be donated to 2 chlorine atoms so that those 2 chlorine atoms can complete their octet. Alright, one magnesium electron will come towards this one chlorine atom. Alright, and this will become, at step 3, and this will become chloride ion over here. Alright, oops, yeah, now this will become the chloride ion. It will be like this. If I only draw the valence electron, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this will gain 1 electron from magnesium, and now it is chlorine negative. Whereas this chlorine atom will also do the same. It has 7 valence electrons. Now this valence electron of magnesium will come over here to the chlorine atom and it will form this chloride ion. Now we have a magnesium ion. Alright, we have a magnesium ion which has its complete octet 7, 8. Now when these two shells, these two electrons will leave, this is the shell that is left behind. This is the valence shell now, and it has 8 electrons. Alright, so this magnesium atom has 8 electrons now in its valence shell, and so we'll write it as, it will have a charge of positive 2. And these chlorine atoms, if I just move it a little bit over here, alright, now these 2 chlorine atoms have gained 1 electron. This is the electron from magnesium, and these crosses are the original electrons that they had, and they have a charge of -1. Alright, this has a charge of -1. This has a charge of -1 now because they have one additional electron from magnesium. And the other chloride ion also has one electron from magnesium. These must be crosses. And these 7 original electrons in its valence shell with a charge of -1. Alright, now this is a magnesium ion, this is a chloride ion, and this is a chloride ion. This is now the compound. Step 3. This is attracted towards this. This negative is attracted towards this positive. Alright, this is now the force of attraction between magnesium and chloride ion and this magnesium and chloride ion. So the formula is MgCl2 because there are 2 chloride ions involved. Magnesium had a charge of positive 2. Magnesium donated 2 electrons, which one chlorine atom cannot accept. Alright, there must be 2 chlorine atoms to accept the 2 electrons that are being donated from magnesium. This is MgCl2. I hope it made sense. I'll see you in the next video.